Most people will never achieve financial freedom during their lifetime, and the reason is often not that they are lazy, inadequate, or incapable as we are commonly led to believe. The real reason is that the system we live in is designed to keep people trapped in a cycle of constant work, consumption, and survival. Think about it. You are always busy. There are bills to pay, debts to manage, and responsibilities to fulfill. Just when it feels like you can finally catch your breath, another expense appears. And by the time most people realize that they were never actually taught the real rules of the game, many years have already passed. From a young age, we have all been told the same things: work hard, save money, get a good job, buy a house, and think about retirement. Financial freedom has been presented as if it were simply a matter of discipline. But let's be honest. If discipline were the only factor, then millions of teachers, nurses, laborers, and civil servants who have sacrificed their entire lives would be financially free today. Yet most of them are not, because financial freedom is not simply about having money, it is about having control. It means being able to decide how you spend your time. It means not feeling helpless in the face of a boss, a debt, or an unexpected crisis. And unfortunately, this kind of freedom is not handed to anyone. It has to be built over time. When we look at history, we see that this is not a new phenomenon. For centuries, people worked on other people's land. Then they worked in factories. Today, most of us work for salaries. The systems have changed, but the underlying logic has remained largely the same. Earn enough to survive, remain dependent on working, and continue relying on the system. In the 21st century, technology has advanced at an extraordinary pace. Productivity has increased. More wealth has been created around the world. Yet, despite all of this, the purchasing power of many people has not increased at the same rate. Housing prices have risen, education has become more expensive, and healthcare costs have grown. Debt has become not a choice, but a normal part of life for many people. And then there is inflation. Quietly, it reduces the value of the money in your pocket. Moreover, those who benefit the most from this situation are often the people who already own assets. Because while money loses value over time, the prices of assets continue to rise. This brings us to a very important realization. The problem is usually not that people do not work hard enough. The problem is that most people have only learned to sell their labor. Yet true financial freedom begins at the point where you no longer have to sell your time for money. Most of us follow the standard path we were taught: study, work, borrow, consume, work harder, earn more, spend more. From the outside, this process looks like progress, but in reality, it often makes people even more dependent. People who are truly financially free think differently. They do not just work, they own. They own businesses, investments, ideas, and systems. They think long-term rather than short-term. They learn how money actually works. And perhaps most importantly, they understand the value of time. This is why financial freedom is not merely a matter of money, it is a matter of perspective. We first need to start asking ourselves some important questions. Where is your money really going? How much do you actually have to work to sustain your lifestyle? Which skills do you possess that could provide you with greater freedom in the future? And perhaps most importantly, which habits are keeping you unnecessarily dependent? Because true wealth is sometimes not about having more, but about needing less. Not in the sense of cutting every expense, but in the sense of understanding what truly matters. Financially free people do not constantly react to events, they design their lives consciously. They focus not on short-term excitement, but on long-term stability. They do not try to predict the market, they try to build systems that are resilient to change. So, what can be done in practice? First, we need to reduce our vulnerability, minimize as much as possible the debts and mandatory expenses that constantly create stress in your life. Because flexibility is one of the first steps toward freedom. Then begin building assets. This could be an investment, a business, a valuable skill, or a system that will generate income over time. The important thing is to build things that create value not only when you are working, but also when you are not. At the same time, protect your mind. We live in a world surrounded by constant messages of fear, panic, and consumption. Study history, try to understand economics, and examine the incentives that shape human behavior. Because the more you understand, the less you can be manipulated, and share what you learn. Because true power lies not only in possessing knowledge, but in multiplying it. Yes, perhaps most people will never achieve financial freedom, but that is not because they do not deserve it. Most people simply spend their entire lives without ever learning that another path is possible. But you can learn. That choice is in your hands. Because financial freedom is not a miracle that happens overnight. It begins with awareness, it continues with control, and over time it transforms into freedom. True freedom means being able to decide for yourself how you will live your day when you wake up in the morning. It means not falling apart in the face of an emergency. It means directing money instead of allowing money to direct your life. Is it easy? No. Is it possible? Absolutely yes. And perhaps the most important step is the moment you realize it. Remember, everything is in your hands.